A very good morning to you. Welcome back. You're now on the Entrepreneur Spotlight. I'm Tanda Chimelu, and here are the business news headlines. Kano State Government arraigns ex-commissioner of Works for alleged 1 billion naira fraud. The Kano State Government on Tuesday arraigned the state's former Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Idris Wada Saleh, at the state's Chief Magistrate Court for alleged 1 billion naira fraud. Saleh, who was arrested by operatives of the Kano State Public Complaints Commission, served under former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje's administration in the state and was charged with giving false information and cheating. The prosecution counsel alleged that the defendant released 1 billion naira to Arafat Construction Company, No Stone Construction Company, and Multi Resources to rehabilitate 30 roads in the metropolis that were not carried out. The defendant, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges, and the case has been adjourned till July 14th. On our next headlines, importers grumble as customs adjust exchange rate to 770 naira per dollar. Less than 2 weeks after the Nigeria Customs Service adjusted the exchange rate for cargo clearing at the port, the service has again raised the rate to 770 naira per dollar from 422 naira per dollar, according to the information obtained from their official website. With the adjustment in the exchange rate, importers bringing goods through the nation's seaports will now be paying more for import duty tariffs following the addition of 181 naira to each dollar of the total value used in calculating the import duty. Maritime industry analysts say the new policy means that there will be regular adjustments in the exchange rates for cargo clearance at the seaports in line with the market rates of the naira against the dollar, which implies that the clearing agents who have a debit note that has not yet been paid will have to pay an increased import duty, and this will consequently impact the market prices of goods and drive inflation high, as importers would have to peg the price of the finished goods at a rate that would cover all their purchasing and importation costs. Now that's it for the headlines on the Entrepreneur Spotlight. We have our Spotlight guest of the week standing by, but before that, I'd like to give us a brief overview of the pageantry industry. Now, pageantry is a $5 billion worldwide industry. Although often misunderstood, pageantry encompasses more than just glitz and glamour. It's an industry that empowers individuals to showcase their talents, intelligence, skills, and charitable efforts beyond the catwalks, dazzling gowns, and poised smiles. Pageantry encourages personal growth, confidence, and leadership skills. It also provides a platform for contestants to address pertinent issues, create social impact, inspire their peers, and embrace their authentic selves. Now, despite the fact that pageantry is also inclusively judged on appearances, its true essence lies in the meticulously groomed and selected winners who utilize their crown and platforms to make remarkable impacts in society. And on that note, I'd like to introduce our Spotlight guest of the week, the one and only Queen Somi Madogu, Miss World Tourism Nigeria. Good morning, Queen Somi. Welcome to the weekend show.
Good morning. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Like I'm tearing up. That was so good. Who wrote that?
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to have you here.
And you delivered it perfectly. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so can you briefly share with us a little bit about yourself and your journey into pageantry, and generally what inspired you to become a pageant queen?
Well, I'm a lawyer. I was called to the Nigerian bar in December 2017. I also have experience in political consulting. And then in the midst of all of this, I had been modeling and I was the face of Zaron Cosmetics in 2020. And so I've always kind of been very, very much interested in modeling and the pageantry industry. And I said this on another channel that I was on, that for most pageants, there is an age limit. And so I'm almost at that age limit. And I just thought, you know what, I will just bite the bullet and apply. I feel like this would be a very transformative experience for me. I feel like I have what it takes to do it. Like you have so perfectly explained what pageantry is all about. I don't think I can do any more justice to explaining what pageantry is about. You absolutely delivered the absolute essence of what it is and what I'm trying to let people know that it is about. And so for me, my journey has been a blessing. It's something that I've wanted for a very long time, and I didn't know how much I wanted it until I got to understand myself much better. And so I'm very happy to be in this position. I'm very happy for the newly acquired confidence because it's given me a brand new level of confidence, and I'm very grateful for everything.
Brilliant. On to my next question now. Pageantry actually involves a lot of competition. One thing a lot of people don't understand, the viewers and the bystanders, they always think it's about wearing beautiful dresses and catwalks, but they don't know the rigorous competitions and challenges that come with actually participating and being in a pageant. You know, being an ex-beauty queen myself, I know the kind of stress, the mental stress, physical and mental stress that it gets involved in, you know, being in pageantry. And I also hear you'll be representing Nigeria in the Miss World Tourism competition in China this September. So can you tell us how you intend to handle the pressure of representing a whole country and how prepared you are generally for that pageant?
Well, I think a lot of preparation went into me competing in Miss Tourism Nigeria anyway. And so that kind of gives you a sneak peek into the kind of preparation that will go into the international one. Of course, like we've said, it's China, it's a big deal, and I'll be representing Nigeria, and there'll be about 60 to 80 other contestants, and the competition will be stiff. However, true pageant girl knows that, when you walk into that room, you don't see anyone else. And this is
Hmm.
not to say that all the other girls are not beautiful, but you come there for the crown. And so I'm going there for the crown. I'm going to be preparing intensely, physically, mentally, spiritually, and of course, I'm going to make sure that all my looks will be amazing. And so, yeah, that's how I'm preparing. And I don't doubt that I'll represent Nigeria well.
We wish you the best of luck. I will be rooting for you
Thank
all
you.
the way from Nigeria as you represent us in
Thank
China this
you. Thank you so
September.
much.
Now, to my next question. You know, pageantry often highlights the importance of community involvement and, you know, giving back to the society. So now, as a queen, can you tell us some of the charitable works or initiatives that you intend to get involved in during the period of your reign?
Okay, so I think I will be able to start during the period of my reign, but it won't end with my reign. I have intentions to have my own pageant that actually empowers girls and not necessarily exploits them like a lot of these pageants do. It will actually be a transformative experience for them as it was for me, as opposed to be as opposed to an exploitative one, which is kind of common in Nigeria and which is common in the pageant and entertainment industries. Um, I also have intentions to have like a craft village in my state, Anambra State, and also like a skills acquisition program because I believe that skills are transferable and what's the word now? Muscle memory. When you learn something, there's a very, very low chance of you forgetting how to do that thing. And so there are certain skills that I believe are necessary for a lady and necessary for life in general. And I'll be getting professionals to transfer these skills to people in small communities and make a big impact. I have a ton of ideas, a ton of ideas. And I don't want to spill all the beans on the show, but also education is very important to me. And one of my friends, Prada Uzodima, has actually inspired this. She has a law school fund. And I was thinking to myself, I could do the same thing as well, have a fund for education. And because a lot of my advocacy is gender based, I'm a feminist, I'm not apologetic about it. I'll be focusing on girls. And so there's a lot that I'll be doing. And I hope that by the grace of God, I'll be able to achieve all of it.
We're very proud of you, Somi. Previously, you mentioned something about exploitation, which is kind of relative to my next question now, because there's a lot of controversies and you know negative impressions about pageantry, especially in these parts of the world where pageants can be seen as controversial due to their focus on appearance. So what would you say to those who argue that pageants reinforce harmful beauty standards and pageants kind of like sexualize women? What's your take on that?
I will say that they're not completely wrong. A lot of people have issues with the bikini round and a lot of pageants. I, for one, was very uncomfortable with that round because I wouldn't typically wear a bikini or take a picture in it. Not to mention walk in front of hundreds of people in it. But I would say that um, even though it took me out of my comfort zone, it empowered me a lot. And, at the end of the day, let's all get real with ourselves. It's just skin. We all have it. And the truth of the matter, if we're being very honest with ourselves, the reason why there's a requirement for pageant girls to be somewhat beautiful looking is because if we're all being very, very real and honest with ourselves, we are visual creatures. We like beautiful things. And so I think it's a bit shallow and I don't give too much attention to those kinds of narratives.
Amazing, amazing. Like I always say, why choose between beauty and brains when you can have both? You know.
Exactly.
So, lastly, what advice would you give to young individuals, young girls watching you right now who see you as an inspiration and who also aspire to be pageant beauty queens just like yourself?
I would say to them to know your why. It was important for me to know my why before I joined pageantry, and it's also more so important for you to know why after you've been titled. A lot of the pageant queens that I've met have also said that that's one of the gifts of the journey is that you discover, you unearth your vision. And so it will be advantageous for you to know your why before you step on the stage because it shines through and you come off more confident because you know your why. Another thing I would say is very important is to be your own critic. I'm my own biggest critic. There is nothing that you can tell me. I mean, right now, I am ashamed of the background of this situation, but I have another radio interview and I have to go for it. So it's crazy. But I'm trying to make it work. And so before anyone can say, oh, why was the camera one way? I know. And I've criticized myself for it and I've forgiven myself for it. And so you should also always be your biggest critic. That way you develop thick skin because you need it in this industry, and also you'll be very conscious to also always present yourself in the best way. um I think those are two very most important things I would say now.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Finsomi, for coming on the weekend show. We hope to see you on
Can
subsequent
I please
episodes.
know your name?
We wish you the best as you represent us in China this September,
Thank you.
and we're rooting for you all the way from here. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you so much. I was wanting to know your name.
Oh, my name is Tender Chimelu.
Oh, we've been talking. Okay,
All
Tender.
right,
Lovely,
thank
lovely,
you.
lovely, lovely.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Wishing you all the
Thank you so
best.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Amazing. Well, it's a wrap on the Entrepreneur Spotlight on the weekend show, but don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back with many more segments. I'm Tender Chimelu. Have a happy weekend.